At least 3 insurance companies are applying to buy individual savings and loan companies, perhaps as a means of getting bailed out with TARP money. So could any company in America get a piece of the TARP pie? Democratic Representative Dennis Kucinich of Ohio, who twice voted against the $700 billion bailout, has been investigating other companies calling themselves banks in order to get TARP money and how arbitrary some of this TARP money expenditure has been. He joins us now from Washington. Congressman, thank you very much for coming in again. Good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, you know, if I'm American Express, I'm a credit card company. I call myself a bank to get TARP money. An insurance company, I call myself a bank to get TARP money. Could Circuit City do it? Could any company in America do that?
Well, at this point, you could probably call yourself a bank and get TARP money. The fact of the matter is that the way this legislation is being interpreted by Treasury, it's creating a movement in industries towards trying to qualify as banks so that they can get TARP money that would enable them to take over more businesses. That's what's happening, and it's quite unfortunate. I think that anyone who watched the hearings today, as I did, would see that Treasury basically hasn't been able to defend their position, their decision-making process. It looks like a free-for-all.
And it's the arbitrary nature, not only in terms of insurance companies calling themselves banks, American Express, but the way in which the money is spent. I know you're particularly burned about the giving of money to PNC Financial Services Group to acquire a bank in your state, National Services.
Well, they could, you know, basically PNC got National City for just about nothing.
Yeah.
And they were guaranteed a $7 billion tranche from this Troubled Asset Relief Program. I mean, the money could have gone to National City and kept 29,000 jobs alive in a multi-state area. We're not through with that. I'm continuing to investigate that.
Well, you actually had a real takedown of Neil Kashkari on that issue, didn't you?
Well, you know, Mr. Kashkari is working for the same person he worked for at Goldman Sachs, and that is Mr. Paulson. And I think Mr. Paulson is the one that has to explain why didn't you save National City, and why, when you had a venerable bank that showed the assets, why did you choose to send them down and raise up in its place another bank?
Well, what do you speculate the answer to that question is?
Well, whatever it is, it's not going to be right, because the fundamental flaw here is Wall Street picking winners and losers.
That's
I mean,
right.
the minute the government starts to interfere in the marketplace with these banks, we're in trouble as a government. And not only that, it sets the stage for a government takeover, or for a bank takeover the government itself. This is where we have to look at down the road and study this carefully. We have to be concerned about how much power the banks are getting in our society through this.
But I think you put your finger exactly on it. The marketplace is what should choose the winners and losers, not some arbitrary decision of somebody working for the Treasury Department.
This is where we have a problem. Now, you know, when you're talking about auto loans, there's something slightly different going to happen here. I think you're right. The Obama administration will have to address this early in its term. We have a national security issue here of steel, automotive, aerospace, which is part of that triad that keeps our country safe. We cannot afford to go out of that business, but how we structure an investment in those industries is going to be a critical public policy issue for the next Congress and for the President.
Well, and the question is really how you get Americans, spenders, to spend their money on American autos that they may not like. I mean, at some point, you're faced with the fact that Americans just aren't buying GM cars as much as is necessary to keep that company afloat.
Well, one of the things that I've been looking at is creating incentives that would encourage people to buy American-made cars. Because, you know, I've always said it's either buy America or buy America. We really have to look at what it means to be a power in the world. You have to have manufacturing capability. So I think the next Congress will put this right at the top of the agenda. There'll be some kind of a package that will invest in our basic industries in order to keep America strong and vital. And also, you know, I don't think the automobile industry, though, is going to be writing all the terms.
Well, the hearing, as you know, is still going on. In fact, Nardelli, the guy who heads up Cerberus, which owns Chrysler, was being grilled by Senator Shelby. I think we have a clip of that, and I want to get your reaction.
Sure.
We would assume to pay you back just like we would the investors.
Not me, the taxpayer.
The taxpayers.
How would you pay the money back?
Because we will generate profit, and we will have to return that. And just as we'll pay our debt down from our investors, we would pay it back to...
What if you don't, though?
Well, sir, we wouldn't be here today asking for this if we didn't have a high confidence level that we could weather this economic trough, continue to resize, make these gut-wrenching decisions to come out the other side leaner, more agile, and for us, a higher quality, higher reliable product.
Congressman, they have confidence that they can do it, but the American public has lost confidence. Maybe it's unfair, maybe it's because of the TARP plan and the way that's been run, but Americans have bailout fatigue. We don't have confidence, and that's why we don't want a bailout of the auto companies right now.
You know, as the person who was one of the leaders against the two bailout votes, I fully understand the feeling of the American people on this. However, we've got to be careful that we don't confuse what happened with the attempt to bail out the Wall Street and pick winners and losers with investing in basic industries that have to do with the strength of America. I mean, did you know that 4% of our gross domestic product is involved in the auto industry? And if you look at all spending that's connected with automotive manufacturing, it goes into the trillions. So we've got a vital part of our national economy here and our national defense. I think as we get into those discussions in the new year, I think we're going to come up with a package that will reflect some sensible approach to investing and getting people's money back. But this other thing, this $700 billion, this is a fiasco, and it should have never happened in the first place. It did not get the confidence of Wall Street. Wall Street knows when winners and losers are being picked, and we're never going to get confidence as long as we have the approach that we've taken with this TARP. Automotive, steel, aerospace, it's in a classification by itself.
All right. Well, of course, a lot of people say we're in a classification by ourselves. That's part of the problems. But we'll have you back on to talk about that bailout later. Dennis Kucinich, great to see you. Thanks for coming in again. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.